And there were giants in them days. And there actually was. 265 million years or so. There were giants in them days. You know, part of my family, the Smithsons, one of the relatives, didn't have any heirs, so when he passed away, he left his fortune, which started the Smithsonian. And one of his uncles donated his private collection to get him started as an anonymous donation. Now, what happened was 265 million years ago, the atmosphere on Earth was way, 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 way more thicker than what it is now. So everything evolved way, 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 way much larger. All the dinosaurs, all the plants, all the insects, and yes, even primitive man. Now, there were plants back then, and most of them were silicone based at that time, if not all. And some of these plants, somewhat like trees, would grow 10 miles high in the sky. Nowadays, you guys climb them out there and you think they're rock formations or lava tubes left over from volcanoes or whatnot. And they're actually just giant tree-like plant stumps that you're climbing on. And you can do some research and you can find for yourself that this is actually what it is. Okay. So because of the atmosphere being so thick, everything was larger. Now, the largest giant that we know of, not that you know of, although there is some religious text that does have it recorded, and also some legends. But the largest giant that ever lived in a human-based type being form, primitive, was 530 feet, some odd feet tall. 533 plus feet. That is huge. But what happened was, as the atmosphere over time started getting thinner, much like if you was to climb on top of a mountain, the air and the atmosphere would get thinner, it'd be harder for you to breathe. So over time, as the atmosphere got thinner, it started killing off all the giants, all the giant animals, because in the giant human-like form, primitive type human-like form, because simply their lung capacity cannot get enough oxygen to sustain their life form anymore. So they basically suffocated to death. But as this was happening over a process of 100 millions of years, they started evolving smaller and smaller every generation. So eventually you got down to the size of what we have nowadays. And all the bigger giants, which were really large, were dying off because they couldn't breathe. So they were literally suffocating to death. Same with the big insects, same with the big dinosaurs. They literally just suffocated to death. Now, this is partly where your legend of, say, the Titans and the Greek gods, where the Greek gods fought against these giants called the Titans, and then you've also got the fallen angels and whatnot that came down from the heavens that were giants. They were recorded to be some 12 feet or 35 and 36 feet tall, depending which ones it were, and some of the offsprings were also recorded to be giants, and but they could mate with human women. But anyway, let's get back to that. Now, as for what your species is today, because there are several species, I mean, there's just countless species that evolved. See, what you got to understand is, for every species there is, that species can turn into 7 more species, evolve into 7 more different species. And for every one of those new species evolved from that one species, each one of those new species can evolve into 7 more species each, and so on, and so on, and so on, where you get up into the millions and billions of different types of species. Somewhat just like all dogs come from wolves, and look how many different breeds of dogs you have, and how many different breeds of cat. Now, over evolution is done naturally by natural selection, but we also have breeders and genetic scientists that get in there and alter stuff. And there were genetic scientists back in the day from Atlantis that altered stuff. They come here from another world. They call them the Anunnaki. You can find them in the Sumerian religion. They talk about them in the Green Tablet of Thoth. And that's another thing. Thoth, is depicted as a bird-like creature, and actually Thoth originally was a serpent, not a bird. But anyway, so as time went by and things started evolving, because every time, the Earth has started over so many times, so many disasters, everything's been wiped out, everything's been extinct, and it's restarted over and over and over and over again. And each time it grows new creations as they evolve. Because all the building blocks, everything that exists, is scattered throughout the whole entire universe. And everything is there. You just got to have the right situations, as I said before, for everything to evolve. No matter if we evolve like silicone-based life form to begin with, and a carbon-based life form as we are now, and whatnot, whatever is evolved somewhere else in the universe, because trust me, you're not alone. You just think you're so great that you are alone, but you're not. And not so great either. Sorry, but, I love you, but you guys got to get that out of your head. You don't need to be better than anybody else. You don't need to be better than anything else. But there came a point in time when you were in the sea, and we needed to transition from the sea onto land. So what happened is over evolution time, egg-like pods would wash up onto the beach and be buried into the sand, much like turtles when they are buried into the sand. These pods are transitioning pods that is allowing you to leave from living in the sea to now being able to come upon land and live upon land and breathe air. Well, when these egg-type pods crack open, like the turtles, when the turtles' eggs crack open, them little suckers bebop down as fast as they can to the sea because they don't want to get ate by predators that might see them from the sky or whatnot. But when your pods cracked open, you bebopped to the jungle and climbed in the trees. Now, not all of you came out of the sea. Some stayed behind, and some came and lived in the trees. So now you have the same species evolving in 2 different separate environments. One still in the sea, and one is now living on land in the trees. Now, you stay in the trees for a while, and you develop muscles and your body structure and everything as you evolve, because, you're climbing in the trees, across branches, up and down. And you don't come out of the trees because it's dangerous on the ground. But you got fruit in the trees, and you got all various kinds of insects and bugs in the trees. You got vegetation in the trees, so you can survive in the trees, and you live in the trees. You live in the trees for a long time. But eventually, as your population grows, there became too many of you to live all in the trees, because now your food supply was diminishing because your population was increasing. So some of the braver ones climbed down out of the trees and started walking on the ground. And now you're walking on the ground, you're developing different muscles because you're walking on the ground. You're eating a different diet because you're eating the vegetation that's on the ground. And you start walking upright. because of the muscles that you're developing, the terrain that you're walking in, the magnetic forces of climbing up and down hills and whatnot. And now you're living in caves for shelter, and you're eating a different diet, and this different diet gives different chemicals into your body. And what happens is these different chemicals that enter your body, they are like programming a computer. The chemicals are actually programming your DNA into becoming something else. It's changing your body. It's changing you. It's changing your mind. So along the way of foraging this food off the ground, they come across psilocybin mushrooms. And they eat these, which they trip their freaking ass off because it's a psychotic drug, but it's a Mother Nature's drug. It's a good drug. It's a good chemical. The psilocybin in it, what it does is it creates new neural pathways in your brains, which creates higher brain functioning, which creates higher brain thinking on a higher level. So now they become more intelligent because of the new brain neural pathways that are developed inside their brain. Okay, now we know this because we have found specimens that were frozen, that were still preserved, and we've done autopsies on them. They would have these mushrooms in there with the psilocybin mushrooms, magic mushrooms, whatnot, whatever you want to call them, inside their stomach. So we know beyond a doubt that they were definitely part of their diet. And we know that what the chemicals are doing to their brain and how it restructures it and how it restructures their DNA. And the government knows this, and your mega church leaders and them know this, and they all want to hide this from you because they don't want you to be healthy and strong and be all you can be. They want you to be sick and weak and easy to control and stupid. But I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. This is why they keep you undereducated, and they don't teach you any of this stuff that me and the other 144,000 of my sisters and brothers will teach you, and are teaching you, and have been teaching you, and will keep on teaching you. But anyway, so now you're living in caves, and you're learning how to survive, and you're eating a vegetation diet because that's what we were designed for. You were designed for, well, that's what you were designed for. You were designed to live off vegetation, and the reason why we know this, because your digestive system is the same digestive system that a herbivore would have. It is a longer, more process of digesting the food that goes through it because it's a vegetation digestive system and not a meat carnivore digestive system, to where a carnivore has a really short digestive system. So that way the meat gets through faster and doesn't sit inside your body and rot like it does with you. And this is how come some humans, or most humans actually I should say, if they don't know how to cleanse themselves frequently, when they die, like John Wayne, Marion Morris, when he passed away, he had 35 pounds of fecal matter left inside his body that was in there just rotting away and decaying. That's leftover poop that got trapped in there that never came out, and it's been there decaying for years. And what it does is all your other organs and everything are up against it, so it starts making them sick, and they start getting diseases. And you see where I'm going with this. So the meat is literally rotten in your body. Another thing is also you get parasites from the wrong kinds of foods and stuff that you eat. If you ain't got the right kind of diet, it's not killing these parasites and these worms and whatnot that you get in your body. And you start getting stuff like, dandruff, or you got skin odor, or maybe your skin has rashes or whatnot on it. Well, that's parasites. You can't lose weight. You're always craving sweets. If you're always craving sweets, that's not you craving sweets.